That's what we're talking about today. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Into My GT Entertainment, and I am Joel. Nice to see you here on this lovely day, and every day that you're around is still a lovely day. So, with that being said, and as you saw at the beginning of this video, that I have a build list for WASP. Now, some of it, you'll see on the page, it'll say phase 1 and phase 2. Phase 1 is completed already, and phase 2 is about to commence. Now, let me just roll the credits, the intro, and we'll get into the story here. Alright everyone, so if you're new to the channel and you don't know, I had a 14 California Special Whipple Supercharged, pristine condition. Now, people ask me or have been saying, oh, you're going to regret selling it, or why did you sell it, or blah 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 blah, whatever, you know. And I don't regret selling it. The only thing that I regret, and I know this is going to sound a little crazy, a little cray-cray, but seeing what is going to happen to her as I idly watch by. Now, Tyler's a great guy, and you know, he's going to do what he needs to do to make that car his, and I totally understand that. But being me, you know, I created that vehicle. That vehicle essentially is my soul because I put it into that car. So I know there's going to be changes, and that's going to probably be the part that jerks me around a little more than anything else. And I totally understand. Like I said, if the car was across state line or somewhere where I wouldn't see it all the time, it probably wouldn't matter. But, you know, hearing some of the rumblings, taking the stripes off, changing the exhaust, doing whatever, I mean, I get it. You always want to keep it fresh and you want to make it yours. But, you know, I had it the way I like it, and I just have to, it's that separation anxiety, right? So you just gotta give it some time and it'll be okay. But with that being said, also, that being sold has opened the opportunities to do some stuff to WASP that I would not normally be able to do right away or have the money to do it at all. So I made up a list of phase 1 and phase 2. So right now we have done phase 1. Phase 1 is complete, and I'm going to go over that with y'all right now. And then I'm going to tell you what phase 2 is going to have in it. And that's the fun stuff right there. So give me a second to get myself situated, and we'll start going down that list. Okay everyone, so let me show you the list that I got going on. This is the list. Feel free to pause and read if you wish. If not, I am going to go down this list and show you what I've done up here and what is coming down here. So with the very first thing that I do to every car, no matter which car it is, I tint the windows. Now everything is new and fresh these days. Everybody wants to tint the windshield and do that stuff. I'm old. These bug eyes don't do as well as they used to. So I'm gonna go ahead and not tint that front windshield, but I did do the eyebrow stripe at the top with the 5%. So it is legal. They can't really say too much about that. Now the sides are 15 and the back is 5. Has a nice little contrast with the yellow. So don't mind the dirt. It's been a long winter already, and we're gonna take care of that shortly. But anyway, with the tint, with the black on the roof, the black wing, looks pretty good. Maybe I should change it to Charlie Brown instead of WASP. What do y'all think? I'm joking. Anyway, so the next thing on the list that I have is the RTR front grills. front, lower, upper, and the sides. So with that being done, I was always on the fence of doing it just for the fact that the lights are always on. I've gotten kind of used to it. I wish there was a way that they were made into a harness that would be able to turn off and on, or however you needed to do it at the time. But for the most part, I do like the way they look. It gives it a whole different look in the front. Even if they made it without the lights, I think I would still like it with just the black inserts, because I like the way that the grille itself is. It has that little step ledge, and then with the factory ones, they were kind of like a honeycomb. These are just circles, so it looks a whole lot different. Even the little touches, you know, man. So that's how that came about, and I definitely like that. I definitely like that. So let me take a quick drink and I'll be right back. Okay, next thing on the list was the Steeda H-pipe. Now everybody's like, why'd you get H-pipe, not an X-pipe? I don't like the raspy, tinny sound. Like I said, I've gotten a little older. My tastes have changed a little bit. I even switched it in Electra. I had an X-pipe, and then when I blew out those cats, I went ahead and changed it to an H-pipe. I like the sound so much better. It's a lot deeper, and it does work with this car also. I had the Cook's long tube headers, so we'll talk about that too. Long tube headers, and then that goes into the H-pipe, and then it goes to the factory active exhaust. It sounds great. It's loud. You know, I'm probably going to alter that at some point. I already got half of it done. Might as well finish the rest of it, right? Haven't figured out quite what I'm talking about yet. You'll see in a little bit. But that is that part of that car. So the H-pipe and the Cook's long tube headers. And I don't throw a code. Anyway, be right back. The next thing that was done was the suspension on the car and the wheel and tire package. Now, I like the factory ones at first, but then I don't like 19s. I've never been a 19-inch rim guy. So I like the 20s. They fill it in a little more. And look at that fitment. That fitment is awesome. So these are the Belgian VF10s, and they're wrapped in the Nittos. I got 315s in the rear, 285s in the front. This 11-inch rim in the back. It's a 10.5-inch rim in the front. So you can see that the stance is pretty decent. No rubbing issues, no making weird noises, nothing like that. And then the suspension is the Steeda Magnaride Sport Springs. Not the dual rate, they're just the Sport Springs. Like I said, to me, that's where I wanted to go. I didn't want to go too low, but as you can see, it fits the car perfectly. The side to side, all the way down, and the fitment of it is great. There's no rubbing at all, nothing at all. And as you can see how it sits pretty darn good. Hold that thought. All right, for the next part, I had to pop the hood and show you some of the stuff I did under there. To go with the suspension that we have going on right now, I did do the camber plates for it, so I can have some adjustments, because with the S650s and the S550s, I believe, there's no camber adjustment to it. So your wheels kind of set the way they sat in the front, and you kind of had to deal with it that way. So I went ahead and got the camber plates. You can see, got one here, there's a plate under it, and that'll give you the side to side adjustment, so you can sit there and adjust the camber to your liking. As you can see, these sit almost pretty straight up and down. Also in here, I did the K&N air filters. This will be for sale because it will not operate with the Whipple kit, and when I get into the Whipple kit, I will show you why these are going to go anyway, nonetheless. So I did get the K&N air filter kit. As you can see, it looks pretty good. Again, I was never really happy with the welds. The welds are never good on these for so long. Yeah, they even sent me another set, and they're just as bad. But for the most part, they work. But yeah, that's what's going to be done here, and I'm going to lose the strut tower brace too, because the Whipple does not fit with the strut tower brace. Unless I could rig that up somehow. I'm going to not say it's for sale quite yet, because I might be able to maybe bump it up a little bit or do something depending how the Whipple sits in there. I need to look at Derek's and see how it sits in there, and then I'll be able to determine to see if it works or not. His car never had one, so I don't know. And I haven't seen any of the cars with the Whipples have one across the top, so it's just kind of one of those things. I don't know if it's just too big or the way the lines run, or you know, it was just an afterthought. So we'll have to see how that goes. So hold on, I'll be right back. While we're under the hood still, I did do a JL oil separator. That's going to be interesting to see with the Whipple also. Right here is where it is, and it runs from one side to the other. I think this is designed so it will work with the Whipple. We'll have to see how it all plays out also. If not, I'll have to get in touch with Vinny and them and get me a new one. But hopefully it all works out and we won't have any issues. But if not, we'll work that part out too. All right, we had to travel inside for the last part. It is a MGW short throw shifter, race spec, with the carbon fiber shift knob. The carbon fiber shift knob was given to me by Brandon because he had it in his car, but then when he went over to the MGW, it was a different thread pattern for the ball. This one fits the factory, his doesn't. So I got that gifted to me, and then I got the short throw shifter in here because before, I mean, the shifter felt fine, but it was a lot longer throws, and and I've always liked a notchier feel to it, so that's why that is there. And I believe that is all that I've done so far. So let me get into the portion of what is to come. See you in a second. Haha, I lied. There was still something else I did. So I also did, when I did the suspension, lowered it and everything else, I put what was called the Stop the Hop kit from Steeda. What it does, if you've seen any of these cars at a drag strip and they get onto it, you see the wheels go tick, 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 tick. This is designed not to do it. It's a sub brace, subframe connector that goes from, I guess, right behind the door panel off to the rear, that braces the back of the tire and the frame itself. So it seems to help. I haven't really, to be honest, got into it. I don't think I've ever done a burnout in this car yet. So, you know, we'll have to test that theory shortly, but that is the last thing I've done to this car. So let me go into what is coming. All right, everybody, first and foremost, I sold my Whipple car. This will be my new Whipple car. I've been in talks with Whipple. We have come to an agreement. A Whipple is coming for this. Stage 2. Yellow splash is going to be the color of the Whipple. I'm going to see if I could get where it says Whipple Superchargers in red. So that way it kind of keeps with the red and yellow aspect of it all. So with that part of that being done, I decided to go ahead and kind of future-proof the car a little bit. So instead of the 112 that comes, throttle body that comes with this kit, I've gotten up to the 120. So now I'm up to the 120 with the stage 2, and you know, I was like, well, I got to take these boxes out, right? The K&N air filter, and I have to put the old ones back in to make it work. Well, let's just not do that. So I went ahead and got the open air boxes from Whipple. Now I know y'all gonna be heat, air, it's hot under there, blah, blah, blah. You know what? They wouldn't sell it if it didn't work, right? So it may not be the most ideal, but at least it looks good. And sometimes looking good is better than going fast, right? I'm just joking, it's gonna go fast too. But anyway, with that being said, it's gonna have the open air boxes with the black filters. God, I don't want the blue ones because there's nothing blue in here. Like I said, it's either gonna be yellow or black. That's gonna be happening in here. With a little touch of red now and then. So that is the exciting part. I can't wait to do that. There was only one bad thing about that. The lead time on a Whipple right now, even ordering it through Whipple or any of the other auto parts, unless I have one on hand, is about 14 weeks. So we are looking March, April-ish before I can even start on it. So that's kind of a bummer, but it's something to look forward to, right? So that is going to be done at this moment at Derek's, unless something crazy happens or changes. That's where it's going to be done at, and I will film the install through that, because there's going to be some other things that I want to do at that same time, and let me explain what that is too. All right, everybody, going to the front end of this car, even with the RTR lights on there, the RTR lights help a lot, but I've always said that there was something missing with these GTs. I don't know why Ford didn't do it. There has to be a reason, because I don't know. It doesn't make sense. But I want to thank Sammy. You know who you are. She is a advocate for, probably advocate's a wrong word, but a spokesperson, let's just say, for Dow Dynamics and Forum lighting. And she got me hooked up with some new fog lights, side markers, and what was the other thing I got? Side markers, still, oh, and the LEDs that go where your back reflectors are, which is right here. Right now, they're just reflectors. I don't know if you can see that too well, but with the new Form lights or Dyno Dynamics, they have an LED in there so they shine. They work off the side markers, so when the side markers come on, they come on. The fog lights will come over and be in this area right here. This comes out, they have a whole new kit for it, and that fog light goes in. Same on the other side, and they work off the headlight themselves. So when I do the Whipple supercharger, I have to take the front end off anyway. So at that time, I'm going to go ahead and do the wiring of this, because you need to get to the backlight to this and have that off to do the install. So with that being done, I'm going to have the fog lights on here. Now you could go on their website, it'll show you an S650 with the RTR lights and the fog lights. I think it's going to kick ass for real. I think it's going to look good. And for those people that worry about the high beams not coming off when the high beams, the fog lights coming off when the high beams come on, the way their system works, as soon as it knows that the high beam's off, it shuts the circuit off to the fog lights. So you have that, and you're not going to have any issues with that legally and with inspection, if that is part of y'all's inspection. So I'm really excited about that. I really am, for real. Now, anybody does superchargers, it's kind of a taboo thing not to do this. So I am getting oil pump gears put in, you know, that whole scenario. So if the factory oil pump gears are kind of weak, so if you're gonna, especially with a stick car, if you bounce it off that rev limiter too many times, you might break it, and then a little $300 part is going to cost you a whole motor. So it's kind of good to go ahead and get it done. Jay's going to do that for me once we get closer to the time, that way we can just roll things together. We'll sit there and do it at Derek's also. We'll get the oil pump gears, and then he won't have to put on certain parts because I don't need to drive the car, and then we could go ahead and go right into the Whipple. The front end's got to come off for that too. So it's a whole lot of craziness. So one step at a time is going to knock out a whole lot of things at one time. So that is the last part of what is actually coming now. Now let me tell you what my other part of the future plans are. Let me get my list and I'll show you. All right, everyone, here on my list, one of the first things that you see is one-piece drive shaft. Now Ford uses a two-piece. It goes up to a U-clamp and then back, and then that's how it works. I don't know the whole reasoning why they do that and don't have a solid drive shaft, but we're going to put an aluminum drive shaft in here. Now this may not be right away, depending how things, I mean, I got pretty much 3 months to kind of gather my thoughts and figure out what I want to do and not do. Like I said, I'm not trying to get a card to pay on another card and not have no money and do whatever. So it's kind of, I'll play it by ear and do things as I see fit. Nobody's sponsoring this but me. So, you know, my pockets are a little thin, you see? So I need to get them filled up a little bit before I start diving in there. But that is one thing that I'm talking about doing. Let me show you another thing. When I was talking about the exhaust, I am a big fan of Corsa. Corsa, sponsor me, throw a set on here, I would be happy. I'll hold my breath, it'll probably die out first. Anyway, since I've already done the cook headers, the H-pipe from Steeda, what's left is the active exhaust from there back. Now you could either buy it with a new mid pipe, or you could buy just an axle back system with the active exhaust part, and you're good to go. You move the actuators off of there to the new mufflers and you're good to go. I haven't decided quite yet what I want to do. These cars are a whole lot more expensive than the 14 was, that's for sure. But we're gonna work it out. Black tips on here would be good because they are chrome, aluminum, whatever, exhaust color. And that is the only thing that is like that on this car. We're gonna have to do something with that. So that is probably gonna happen too. When I got the H-pipe put in, it was welded. So I don't know if that kind of screws me from doing the other. I don't know if they could cut to where they weld it and re-weld it and re-tap it in there, and then I would keep the H-pipe because the H-pipe is fine. But I might go full Corsa and then have the active exhaust, and then, you know, with that at least I have the control where it's going to be quiet. It's not going to be branding crazy outside. So, you know, we'll figure that part out as we go. That isn't something that's going to be right away also, but that'll probably be about the same time as the drive shaft, because the drive shaft has to come out, the exhaust has to come down. You know, things just kind of work in itself, right? So we'll see how that goes. And I think I got one more thing on my list. Let me check. Okay, so other things that are on my list, they're just kind of miscellaneous. I want to get the car dyno tested again before I do any of that work. So I did run it before. I think the gas in it was kind of eh. So I think it ran like 417. I want to go run it to the dyno again. I do it before the way it is. And then after I put the supercharger, do some new numbers. So I'll probably do a dyno run with this and bring you along for that for just some content. And then a boost gauge. Now, I've heard that you could force scan the boost gauge from the EcoBoost because they have a little boost gauge in the center console or the cluster. I don't know anybody around me that does force scan to do that or check that out for me. So anybody in the comments knows, let me know. If not, maybe I'll put a boost gauge in there because I like to have the boost gauge. I like the little needle going back and forth. So, you know, we'll figure that part as we get around there too. That may be sooner than a later thing. I just have to figure out what to do with that. And then the very last thing was suspension parts. Now that is going to be as needed basis. So let's say I go ahead and get it all done and then the car doesn't handle very good, or you know, it sways too much in the rear or whatever the case may be. That's when we'll go ahead and add what we need to. I'm not doing a K-member. I'm not, like I said, I'm not building this to race, believe it or not. You know, I'm building it to enjoy it. I don't go very far. I don't do a lot of things. You know, summertime, I do a little more, but for the most part, this has 3,700 miles. I bought it October of last year, okay? So, no, of the year before. Actually, we went 24, right? So, no, I got it in 23. 23 for 24, 24 to, yeah. So, I've had the car over a year. Sorry, getting old, told you, man. So, I've had the car for over a year and, what, 4 months now? And it's got 3,700 miles. That should tell you something, right? So, I build these cars to make myself happy, not to make XYZ happy, not to follow a path of somebody else, not to do whatever. I do it for me because at the end of the day, it comes out of my pocket. At the end of the day, I'm the one that has to drive it. Now, I know a lot of people opinionated, a lot of people troll, and a lot of people like, well, you should do this, you should do. Well, you know what? Start a GoFundMe, send me some cash, and I'll do whatever the hell you want to do. No doubts in my mind. But until that happens, you know, I'm going to do things my way because that's the way I like to do it, right? I'm doing it for me. And if y'all enjoy the build, more power to you, and I'm glad y'all like what I do. If you don't enjoy it, well, you know, move on. So, not really. Like I said, I'm not a dick about it. I don't want to be. But like I said, a lot of things have changed, and I've kind of seen how this YouTube thing works a little bit. And I'm almost ready to give it up. I do it for fun, and then when it stops being fun, that's when you kind of have to sit back and just kind of reevaluate. So this will probably be one of my last projects on YouTube. Now, I may have a change of heart and keep dropping things and doing whatever, or it's just going to be, you know, here and there. Like I said, I'm getting older, and I hate to keep saying it because I hate hearing it in my own head, right? But like I said, I like to find enjoyment in what I do. I find enjoyment in messing with the cars. I find enjoyment in messing with computers and building them and doing whatever. Now, do I want to be a mechanic? Hell no. Do I want to build computers for a living? No. I like to do it for fun. Something as a hobby. And then when it stops being fun, that's when you change your hobby, right? So, I don't know where that tangent came from, but it came from, so we'll just go ahead and leave that. So let me go ahead and close out this video, and we'll see you in a sec. All right, everybody, that is the end of this video. This is WASP. I'm putting the end of my GT license plates on her tomorrow. We're going to DMV, getting that all sorted out. And I'm actually putting the parrot head plates on here with the end of my GT. So if you don't know what parrot head is, it's Jimmy Buffett, Margaritaville, yes, Margaritaville type license plate, and it has a little parrot head. Go figure, right? But it's the same color as a car. It has the blues and well, it has a light blue bird, and everything else is yellow. So, and the letters are blue. So I think that's going to look pretty good. Other than that, that is my plan. That is what I'm planning on doing. That's where I'm going with this car, and it's going to be probably a full year's worth of work. You know, it's gonna take up a lot of time, and then I have to get things situated along the way. And like I said, the Whipple has been taken care of. That is just a waiting game now. Any other stuff, and once I get word on the Whipple, then the oil pump gears will pop in. You know, so things will follow the steps. I just can't do anything. And then as I'm waiting, that's the dangerous part, I will purchase what I need, don't need, decided I needed, you know, that type of shit. And then Brandon works for Turn 5, which is American Muscle, which is never good at this house because he could get me some stuff at a little cheaper rate. He might be able to do it for you too. So hit him up, Minion50, and we'll see where we end up. But WASP 2.0, she's gonna get nasty. She's gonna get nasty quick. Hopefully I don't blow the clutch out the first week I have it, but I don't drive it that hard anyway. Electra had her clutch forever, and like I said, it's all on how you drive it and learn the car. So we'll see where we are. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you on the next one.